A warm June morning in Sarajevo, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir presumptive to the Austro-Hungarian throne, sits in an open-top, Greff and stiffed automobile, his morganatic wife Sophie, Duchess of Hohenberg, by his side. They've just escaped a near-fatal bomb attack earlier that day, yet Ferdinand insists on continuing his itinerary, driven by a sense of duty and perhaps a touch of fatalistic bravado. Sophie, often sidelined by the rigid Habsburg court due to her non-royal birth, clutches his arm, her face a mask of quiet resolve amid the cheering crowds. As their driver takes a wrong turn onto Franz Joseph Street, a simple navigational error born of confusion, the car slows to a halt. In that suspended moment, a 19-year-old Bosnian Serb nationalist named Gavrilo Princip, who had all but given up on his mission and was lingering near a deli, seizes his chance. Two shots echo through the air. One pierces Ferdinand's neck, the other strikes Sophie in the abdomen. Blood stains her white dress. Ferdinand gasps, "Sophie, Sophie, don't die, stay alive for our children," as she slumps against him. Chaos erupts. Onlookers scream, guards rush in, but it's too late. Within minutes, both are dead, their devoted love story cut short on what should have been a day of pomp and circumstance. This heart-wrenching scene, blending personal tenderness with political violence, wasn't just a royal tragedy. It was the catalyst that plunged Europe into World War I, a conflict that would devour millions of lives and redraw the map of the world. The outbreak of World War I, often dubbed the Great War, was no sudden accident, but the culmination of decades of simmering tensions across Europe. Historians frequently summarize the long-term causes using the acronym MAIN: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. These interconnected forces created a volatile environment where a single spark, the assassination, could ignite a conflagration. The war, which raged from 1914 to 1918, resulted in over 16 million deaths and profound societal upheavals, from the fall of empires to the seeds of future conflicts. To grasp how this happened, we must explore each cause in depth, weaving in the human emotions that fueled them, the pride of nations, the fears of leaders, and the personal stories of those caught in the crossfire. Militarism, the belief in building up strong armed forces to prepare for and glorify war, was a dominant force in pre-1914 Europe. Nations invested heavily in their militaries, fostering a culture where generals held sway over politicians and war was seen as a noble test of national character. Germany, under Kaiser Wilhelm II, epitomized this trend. Wilhelm, an impulsive ruler with a withered arm that fueled his insecurities, pursued a Weltpolitik, world policy that included challenging Britain's naval dominance. The German naval laws of 1898 and 1900 aimed to build a fleet capable of rivaling the Royal Navy, leading to an arms race. By 1914, Germany had increased its battleships from a handful to 29. While Britain responded by launching the revolutionary HMS Dreadnought in 1906, rendering older ships obsolete and escalating the competition. This wasn't mere hardware. It stirred deep emotions. In Germany, military parades evoked national pride, with crowds cheering as soldiers marched in gleaming uniforms. Young men like those who would later fill the trenches dreamed of heroic deeds, influenced by literature and propaganda that romanticized combat. Across the Channel, Britain's two-power standard, maintaining a navy larger than the next two combined, reflected imperial anxiety as families worried about potential invasions. France, still smarting from its 1871 defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, implemented compulsory military service, instilling a sense of revenge in its citizens. Austria-Hungary's Chief of Staff, Franz Conrad von Hötzendorf, repeatedly urged preemptive strikes against Serbia, viewing war as a salve for the empire's ethnic fractures. These militaristic attitudes created a hairpin trigger where leaders felt compelled to mobilize quickly under plans like Germany's Schlieffen Plan. which demanded rapid invasion of Belgium to outflank France. Emotionally, militarism bred a fatal mix of excitement and dread. Diaries from the era reveal soldiers' initial enthusiasm. One British recruit later recalled the outbreak as a grand adventure, kissing his sweetheart goodbye amid cheering throngs. Yet beneath lay fear, mothers weeping as sons boarded trains, unaware of the horrors awaiting in the mud of the Western Front. The alliance system, intended as a deterrent, instead ensured that a local conflict would escalate into a global one. Europe was divided into two main blocks, the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. The Triple Alliance, formalized in 1882, united Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. It originated from Otto von Bismarck's dual alliance with Austria-Hungary in 1879, aimed at isolating France after the Franco-Prussian War. Italy joined in 1882, seeking protection against France, but the pact was defensive. Members pledged aid only if attacked by two or more powers. By 1914, strains showed Italy harbored irredentist claims on Austrian territories like Trentino and Trieste, leading to its neutrality declaration when war broke out and eventual switch to the Allies in 1915 for territorial gains promised in the Treaty of London. The Triple Entente, a looser counter-alliance, linked France, Russia and Britain. It began with the Franco-Russian alliance of 1894, a mutual defense pact against Germany. The Entente Cordiale of 1904 resolved colonial disputes between Britain and France, particularly in Egypt and Morocco. Finally, the Anglo-Russian Convention of 1907 settled rivalries in Persia, Afghanistan and Tibet, completing the trio. Though not a formal military treaty like the Triple Alliance, the Entente functioned as one by 1914, with secret naval agreements and Russia's reliance on French loans for military modernization. Britain's commitment was solidified by its 1839 treaty to defend Belgian neutrality, which Germany violated in August 1914. These alliances evoked a range of emotions, from solidarity to paranoia. Royal families were intertwined. Kaiser Wilhelm II, Tsar Nicholas II, and King George V were cousins. Yet personal telegrams pleading for peace, like the Willie-Nicky correspondence, failed amid national pressures. In Vienna, the outbreak sparked war fever, with crowds singing patriotic songs and embracing strangers in fraternal excitement. As one eyewitness described a city alive with ecstasy and sacrifice. Imperialism, the competition for colonies and resources, heightened rivalries. The scramble for Africa saw European powers carve up the continent, leading to crises like the 1905 and 1911 Moroccan incidents, where Germany tested French and British resolve. The declining Ottoman Empire left a power vacuum in the Balkans, where Austria-Hungary's 1908 annexation of Bosnia-Herzegovina outraged Serbia and its Slavic kin. This fed into nationalism, the fervent loyalty to one's ethnic group or nation, which was particularly explosive in multi-ethnic empires like Austria-Hungary. Nationalism stirred profound emotions. In Serbia, after the Balkan Wars of 1912-1913 doubled its territory, pan-Slavic dreams flourished. Young radicals like Princip, from impoverished backgrounds, were radicalized by stories of oppression, viewing Ferdinand as a symbol of tyranny despite his reformist leanings. French nationalism burned with revanchism over Alsace-Lorraine, while German pan-Germanism envisioned a greater Reich. These passions made compromise impossible, turning the Balkans into Europe's powder keg. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914, was far from a meticulously executed plot. It was a bungled affair riddled with coincidences and human frailties. Ferdinand, a progressive figure who favored greater autonomy for Slavs within the empire, was in Sarajevo to inspect troops and attend maneuvers, coincidentally on Vidovdan, a Serbian holiday commemorating the 1389 Battle of Kosovo, which fueled nationalist sentiments. His wife Sophie accompanied him, a rare public acknowledgement of their union, which had been morganatic due to her lower status, barring their 3 children from succession. The plotters were members of the Black Hand, Ujedinjenje ili Smrt, a secret society led by Serbian military intelligence officer Dragutin Dimitrijević Apis. They recruited 7 young Bosnian Serbs, mostly teenagers, including Princip, Nedeljko Čabrinović, and Trifko Grabej. Trained in Belgrade with weapons smuggled from Serbia, they positioned along the Apel Quay. Security was shockingly lax. No extra troops despite warnings of unrest, as Governor Oscar Potiorek worried it might provoke locals. At 10:15 a.m., Čabrinović threw a bomb that bounced off Ferdinand's car, exploding under the next vehicle and wounding officers. Ferdinand proceeded to City Hall, sarcastically noting the warm welcome. After he decided to visit the injured, changing the route, but drivers weren't fully briefed. Ferdinand's car turned wrongly, stalling near Princip. Using a Browning FN Model 1910 pistol, Princip fired at close range. Sophie died first, Ferdinand soon after, his last words a plea for her life. Princip was arrested, later expressing regret for Sophie's death. Trials revealed Serbian links, but the government denied involvement. Emotionally, the event was devastating. Ferdinand and Sophie's love, forged against odds, ended tragically on their anniversary month. Princip, a tubercular idealist, died in prison in 1918, haunted by unintended consequences. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany's blank check on July 5th, issued a harsh ultimatum to Serbia on July 23rd, demanding suppression of anti-Austrian groups and Austrian investigators in Belgrade. Serbia accepted most terms but rejected sovereignty violations, prompting Austria's war declaration on July 28th and bombardment of Belgrade. Russia mobilized to protect Serbia, leading Germany to declare war on Russia, August 1st, and France, August 3. The Schlieffen-Plan's invasion of Belgium brought Britain in on August 4th. Japan joined later, honoring its alliance with Britain. Human stories abound. In Vienna, crowds erupted in joy, but soldiers like Harry Drinkwater later chronicled the horror, from trench comradeship to shell shock's mental toll. One depressing tale: brothers fighting on opposite sides or facially disfigured veterans shunned post-war. Initial ecstasy gave way to shame and trauma as diaries reveal lingering psychological scars. The outbreak of World War I was a perfect storm of systemic flaws and human emotions, from nationalist fervor to alliance entanglements. It birthed the modern world, fall of empires, rise of communism and fascism, but at immense cost. Remembering emotional scenes like Ferdinand's dying plea or soldiers' trench bonds humanizes the history, urging vigilance against similar pitfalls today.